Okay, so today we are discussing about the Clientlibs. So Clientlibs, it was introduced for managing the CSS and the JavaScript files. So basically, Clientlib we use for the CSS and the JavaScript. Okay, so if you want to manage your CSS and the JavaScript, then you can go with the Clientlib. Not only the JavaScript, if you have images or the fonts, and you just want to manage it, then you can use this Clientlibs. So for making one website, what we need, by the way, we need a HTML. Okay, if you want to make any website, for that we need a HTML, CSS or JavaScript, and after that we need the images, so we can say it's assets. Okay, these are the things we needed, and we need some backend part, that means we can consider like Java. Okay, so these are the things we need for making one website. So first one is the HTML. So HTML will manage by using a component. So in our AEM we have a component, using that we can manage this one. Okay, CSS and the JavaScript and the asset. Okay, some of the fonts and the images, not entire assets, but some of the things will manage in a Clientlibs. So all this CSS, JavaScript and the assets will manage in a Clientlibs. Okay, so when we will create a Clientlibs, we have to follow this type. So this is the type we have to follow. Okay, so once you will create a node, Clientlib is nothing but the node only, but when we will creating a Clientlib, you have to select this path. Okay, and here we have a js.txt and the css.txt, and these are the important files. So your sling will come inside this, and it will start executing js, otherwise css file. So all the entry we have to mention here, then your JavaScript or your CSS file will execute. So these both are the mandatory. Okay, and here, so consider this is our Clientlibs. So that means here we have a js.txt and the css.txt. So this is nothing but your sling only. So your sling, firstly it will come inside your js.txt, and it will see the js source files. Okay, what are the files you have written inside the js.txt, only this file it will execute. Okay, and after that, just like the same CSS, if you are written something just like index.css, and index.css maybe 1,000 lines of code inside that, and you have written inside the cst, so only this file sling will pick up from this folders. Okay, and after that it will execute. Okay, and after that, here this is nothing but the configuration manager. Config manager we have. So here they have provided one config manager, configuration. So if you want to provide some extra functionality to your JavaScript or to your CSS file, then you can use this one. So just like now we'll write in a proper manner, we'll write the code, but after that this code will increase. Okay, the size of the code, it may be 100 KB. Consider, just for the example, the size of this code, it may be 100 KB, but when you will minify, okay, in future when you will minify, so it will reduce to the 50 KB, or it may be a less than 50 KB. So that's why we will use this extra functionalities. Okay, and another thing, so like firstly, at the first time you have created this version, and second time it will automatically create this 2.0 if you update something in the code. Okay, and automatically you can refer, or automatically your sling refers this 2.0 and it will execute. It will not execute this 1.0. Okay, this is the thing. And here we why we are introducing the Clientlibs only, client library only. We have a traditional ways as well, but in the traditional way we have a lot of drawback. That's why we have introduced the concept of this Clientlibs. Okay, so first of all, here you see, so when you will use a HTML, inside that you will add this heading you will add. Okay, and if you want to adjust, or if you want to include your CSS inside the HTML, then we'll use this link. Okay, and if you want to include JavaScript in your HTML, then we'll use this script. Okay, so these both things will use. Okay, but consider we have 1,000 JavaScript files and 1,000 CSS files. Okay, so every time we have to define this, every time we have to define these types of lines. Okay, and after that, now consider this is the 1000 JS we have, and this 1000 JS is dependent on each others. Okay, this 1000 JS file is depending on each other, so it should be load first. So that thing also we have to take care manually. So like 1000 files we have, and this 3 files is depending on this 4. Okay, so this file, this 4th file should be load first before this 3. So these things also we have to take care manually. So these are the advantage drawbacks we have. First upon this number of requests to serve. Okay, so first of all, here you see, so now consider this is my HTML, and this one is nothing but our index.html, index.html, and inside that we are adding these 1000 files, JSS and the CSS. So when you will refresh the code, or at the first time when you will enter in this index.html page, that time this 1000 file will load each and individually. Okay, but in the Clientlibs, only one time request will generate, only one time request is generated, and inside that all your 1000 requests will include. Okay, so inside this request all your 1000 CSS and the JS file will include. Okay, so not each and individual time we have to send a request and we have to get a response. No, only one time you have to send a request. Now I'll show you. Just come here. Here we have a CRXD. Now we'll see how we can create a Clientlib. Firstly, we'll see how we can create a Clientlib. So for creating a Clientlib, where is your project? This one. Okay, automatically here it has created one client library folder. You can go inside this and right click, and after that create a node. So your Clientlib is nothing but the node only, but you can name it anything. Just like here I am giving a desktop, but inside that, inside this type, you have to define the inside that you have to define a client library, CQ client library folder. Okay, so this is the node you have now. This is nothing but the node, and this node is the types of client library folder. So this is the desktop I have created now. You can simply save it. After that, this is just simple and Clientlibs. Now you can see. Okay, but we know that why we use a client library for managing CSS and the JS. So you can simply create a, inside that you can create a CSS folder, and after that you can create here JS folder, and the CSS folder we have created, and inside that you can define the file of the CSS, because it is a CSS, so we have to define the CSS file, and it is a JS, then you can define a JSS file, JS. Okay, this is the thing we have defined it, but we know that if you want first of all your sling will come to txt, so we have to create a txt for the CSS and the JS. So right click here, create, what we have to create, js.txt, that's it. We have to refresh. Now you can save. Yeah, it's saving. Right click again, we have created, now we have to create a css, css.txt, that's it, css, and inside that we have written as main.css, and here I am just simply writing anything, just like a dot article details, and here I am just trying to write one CSS. Okay, just like a color, I need a color in a red, I need a padding 20px and some font size. Font size should be a 20px. Okay, so this is the thing that I have defined here. This is the CSS code. Okay, now this is the CSS code, and here I have written So this is the name of your Clientlibs. What is that? This is the node name only. Okay, this is not a name of your Clientlibs. Okay, so if you want to define the identifier or you want to call this client library somewhere, for that we have to define the categories. So how we can define the categories? Using a categories name. Okay, and it should be a multi, so it may be a more than one category, so you have to define as a multi. So here this is the desktop, so you have to define here desktop Clientlibs. Okay, and you can simply add it. So we have added desktop Clientlibs. Okay, so here now wherever you want to call it, then for that you have to define this categories. Okay, now here I have a components. I am going somewhere in this hello world. I am going open this, and somewhere okay, not I'm not coming here. Remove this, simply h2 and h2 close. I'm closing this h2, and here text component I'm just simply writing, and here I'm defining a class. So as we know that here I have defined the CSS file, so that is article detail, so you have to copy from here, and this one is our HTML, so simply we have to paste. Okay, so now I have defined this article detail, and I'm just making that color red and padding 20px, and the font size is 20px. Okay, but now the thing is somewhere we have uses this hello world. So now just simply come, open the sites, okay, so it's taking some time. Till now we'll do one thing. Here we have created a Clientlibs, and now I shows that I have told you like now we'll see this number of requests to serve will increase. Okay, so here I'm creating another CSS. In this folder I'm creating another CSS and create, and here we have a create a file. So index.css I'm just writing here, and inside that I'm just creating anything article underscore article details. Okay, article descriptions, font family, sans serif, just for color blue. Okay, background red. Only just for the example I have defined these are the things. Okay, so now I'm saying here, you see here we have a app search software solution. You can just simply copy this desktop. Okay, you can just simply copy the desktop, come here, and here you have to type localhost 4502 and paste it. And after that now I just need a CSS. So this is the request it will go. Okay, only this request it will generate first time, and once you will hit enter, now you will not get anything. Why? Because see, we expected that whatever we have written inside this index.css and this, oh, here we haven't defined. We have to rename index.css. Okay, so we are expecting like index.css and the main.css, it should be load when I just type or when I just send this request. So how we can load it? So you can just simply come here. See, we know that firstly your sling will come inside this css.txt and it will execute. So whatever you will mention here, only this thing it will execute. index dot css, and after that here we have a main dot css. So it will not execute where it has stored inside this css folder. So you have to mention like this, base is equals to css. That's it. Now you can save, come here and just try to refresh it. Now you will see, so once you are sending one request, you are getting all the data. So only one request we have to send. Okay, this one our EN has opened it now. Okay, and here somewhere we have uses the hello word. Where it is? Yeah, this one. Okay, so this is the hello word, and inside that what we have written, where is our hello word? Yeah, so this is our hello word, and here I have written only text component, but in this text component I have performed this css. See, so it should be a color red, okay, 20 pixel, and the font size should be a 20 pixel, but it's not applying to this text component. Why? Because we haven't loaded this Clientlibs. So this is the client library we have created, but we haven't called to this particular component. Okay, we have a ways like HTL we have, using that we can call our client library to this particular component, but we'll see these things in a HTL. But now another way is there. So this is the desktop, and if you want to call this desktop, you can simply load the HTML as a template level. See, just click on here. It's taking too much time. Okay, till now we'll discuss about the second one now. Okay, so dependency management need to take care manually. So it is saying like dependency management we have to take care manually. Okay, in your traditional way. So here we have 1,000 files. I have already discussed 1,000 files, and each file is dependent on each others, like 1, 2 and the 3. Okay, and this 1 is dependent on the 3, so this 3 should be loaded before this 1, otherwise it will throws the error. It says like that function is not defined. So that's why they have introduced the concept of dependencies. One property we have, dependencies. See, we have 4 properties. We have already discussed about the categories. Okay, after that we have a dependencies. Later that we have a allow proxy, and at the last we have a embed. So these are the properties. These are the properties related to this Clientlibs. Okay, so we have discussed the client categories. Now the turn is dependencies. So it's basically used for the dependency management. So now here I have one Clientlibs. Okay, this is the Clientlibs I have, and here I have another Clientlibs, that is Clientlibs sites. Okay, so it has already created, and this is the name of your categories, this one. That means this is the name of your sites. Okay, so you can just simply copy, this is the name of your Clientlibs, and now this is the Clientlibs you want to load before your desktop. So you can just simply come here, and here you have to simply write dependencies. Okay, dependencies we have defined, and it should be a multi. Okay, it should be a multi, and after that you can paste your code. It should be a multi, and add, and okay. So now here you see, now this client library. Okay, so this is the client site, Clientlibs site library load before your desktop. Okay, so now we'll see where we was, by the way, here. Okay, so now we have to load our client library as a page level. So for that you just simply have to click on this editable template first of all, Once you just click on this editable template, it will open this policy, and after that you can simply click on this page policy. This is editable template, and when you will click here, so we have to open the page policy. So we have opened this page policy now. Okay, I'm just deleting this, and instead of that you can define your own Clientlibs. This one is our Clientlibs. Copy, and just simply paste it. I'm removing this one as well. Only one client library I'm just loading. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so here I just came. Now you will see, so before that it was showing only the plain text, but now our CSS has applied. Here you see our CSS has applied. Now click on this, or view as a publish. Open this one as a publish, right click there, view page source. That's nice. Okay, so here you see it's loading only one Clientlibs here. Okay, no issue. Preview, right click, view page source. Okay, do we have our Clientlibs, that is desktop? It's not present there. View as admin. Okay, view page source, and here we have to define our Clientlib base. What is the name of our client library? Desktop, and here we have a desktop Clientlibs. So I think so it's not loading. It has loaded, here you see, but we are not seeing here. When you will open the page source, it should be present here, otherwise it will not reflect this. So that means it's present here, but when we are searching we are not getting it. Desktop, we shall we search manually. Yeah, I think this is the desktop.js. Yeah, so this one is our client library. Here you see inside these apps, here we have a search software folder, and this side that we have our Clientlibs, and after that here we have a desktop.js. So when you will open this, you will see your code, but you haven't written anything, that's why you are not seeing. So now instead of that you can just simply type desktop.css. See, here we have a desktop.css. Now you can open it. So once you will open, you will see your code, that is article description and article detail. So only one time, one request we have to send, and once it will generate, so all your code will be present, it will be available. Okay, so now this thing is okay, and here you see what we have done here is, in this crxd, when I'm just closing here, so here we have a search folder, okay, search software folder dot site. Now come here, so somewhere clientlibs site dot css. So come here, clientlib site dot css. See, clientlib dash site dot css. So before this desktop, while using these dependencies, before this desktop, we got this clientlib site. So what, how we got it? By using these dependencies, okay. And after that we have a allow proxies as well. So allow proxy, just let me close this. Okay, so here we have a allow proxy as well. So here you see all the client library, it is loading in the etc folder, but our custom client library, it's loading in the apps folder, and this is not a good. Inside this app we have everything, our project and everything. So dispatcher, whenever the request it is coming from the apps, so dispatcher will block this request. So right now we don't have a dispatcher, that's why this request is processing, but this should not, this is not a good. So we have to rename this one, or we have to change this. So how we can change it? So you can simply here type allow proxy, and this one is a boolean, so we have to select the boolean here and true. Don't select multi, and add it. Now just save it, come here and just try to change it. So right now this client library it is loading through these apps. Now refresh. Now here you see it has converted to the etc. Why? Because of this allow proxy. So dispatcher will block the request when request is coming from the apps. Okay, so this allow proxy internally change from app to etc. That's it. And at the last we have a embed. Okay, so both are the similar, these dependencies and the embed, but these dependencies load before your current client library. So here you see, if your desktop is dependent on this clientlib site, so this one will load before your current current client libraries. Why? But okay, how? By using these dependencies. But we have the same thing, that is embed property. So what that embed property does? So when you will define your embed property in this desktop, that means in this desktop, so what it will do is, this clientlib site will load inside your desktop. So now this time it won't display before your desktop. This client library will include inside your desktop. Okay, so now let me delete this dependencies, and after that here we have to write embed, and it should be a multi, and after that which one you want. So this is the thing you want it, but what is the name of that? So here we have a name. You can just simply Control A and just simply copy, come here, and here we have to define, hit enter. What? Okay, so this is the thing, I have defined it. Now first clear this. Okay, save the changes. Now you can come here, copy your apps, open this one, and localhost apps. Now I need a CSS. Okay, so I think so there we don't have a CSS. Is there? No. And where is the site? Okay, so this code should be load. Something we have wrong, just delete. Should be string, paste multi, and you can simply add. come here and try to refresh firstly. Okay, now we have only this desktop.css. so when you will click here, now here you see. Okay, so here you see now what it is happening is, now that desktop site something, not a site, Clientlibs site, okay, it has removed from our view page source. Okay, and when you will click inside this desktop.css, you will get all this code. So this is the code we are getting, and this one is our desktop code. So it will load the code before your current client library, but inside your Clientlibs. Okay, and this is about the categories, allow, proxy, embed. Mostly they will ask about the embed and the dependencies, what the difference between the embed and the dependencies. So like you can use, if the size of, see right now this is the embed. Okay, if the size of the file is more than a 1 MB, then you can simply use the dependencies. Okay, but the size of the file is less than 1 MB, then you can simply use a embed. Okay.